It was a normal life. Each day, woke up, drove my wife to the hospital. There she worked as a radiologist, and then drove to the pharmacy that I owned. We had a lot of dreams and development ideas. Me, as a pharmacist, I was one of the most trusted and recognized on my hometown. And my aim was to be one of the most trusted and recognized over all the country. 18th of March, 2011, it was a special day on my home country. It was the day by which we said no to the dictatorship, and the revolution had started. The answer was from the regime: fire bullets at the protesters. A lot of people became injured by bullets, beating, and tear gas. And they had been sent to the hospital where my wife worked there as a doctor. At the evening, she came home and just cried and cried and cried without saying any word. Day after, she looked at me, looked on my eyes, and said, "Don't send any injured to the hospital. The regime killed them as soon as they admitted." As a medical professional, I must be neutral under the war. It's international law. But it doesn't work in my home country because the safe area, the hospital, was very dangerous in my home country. The blood bank on my home country was under the control of the regime. So if anyone bleeding, we couldn't transfuse blood for him. I still remember I had sent my friend just to bring a blood bag, and he had been killed for that. That led me to take the risk and transfuse the blood by the old method from normal human being to the injured human being. It's a fatal way, but it had managed to save a lot of people during the war. And then I created blood bags. After that, my pharmacy became the special place for the planning after the clamping down of the protesters. One day, my telephone rang, and it was an unknown caller. I replied, "Hello?" and heard a man told me, "We know what you had done and what you are doing right now. Know this: we are going to kill your child and rape your wife. You have a beautiful wife, and my soldiers waiting for her." At that moment, I understand that there's one thing to do it: just pick up my wife and my son and drive away. Just move out of my town. At the night, I was succeeded to move to the capital. Day after, I had informed that they bombed my pharmacy to the ground. Few days after that, I succeeded to escape to the neighbor country. During the escape, I was so afraid about my family. But at the same time, I was so sad because I'm forced to escape. As soon as I arrived to the neighbor country, I went to a human association and told them about what I had done on my home country and why I escaped. And they got interesting about me, and they said, we have an idea. We would like to rent a building and make it to the injured people who flee without a family. Have you the ability to manage this project? I answered, I will try, but I can't promise anything. Few months after that, it became the most successful human project on the neighbor country. That's led me to get offer from Qatar the Christian. They told me, have you the ability to be the manager for the therapeutic project for the injured people over all the neighbor country? Did you have the ability to be manager for the both project? I said, I will try, but I can't promise anything. 2 months after that, we successful. And they told me again, we want from you to be the manager of the psychosocial support on the biggest refugees camp over all the world. And I said also, I will try, but I can't promise anything. There, I joined also UNHCR and Doctors Without Borders. I was so happy that I helped my people, my friends there, but still unsafe. In 2015, one thing led to another, and the impossible became reality, and we decided to move into Europe. There was no legal way to move into Europe. That's why I take the huge risk and cross the sea with the smugglers. The crossing was at the 15th of April 2015. We were so happy when we saw the island. We think, now we will build up our life and start again and show all the world how strong we are. But this happiness disappeared when 2 of the smugglers grabbed my 2 children, the 5 years and the 1 year old, and threw them into the dark, into the sea, and the cold. I have no time to think, just I jumped. The second I hit the water, it felt empty. I felt that they killed the humanity. They destroyed our dreams. I looked at my wife. She is beside me. And we start to looking for the child. Directly, we found the 5 years child. But the 1 year old, he disappeared. I tried to find him the first time. The second time, diving down, the third time, I found him lifeless. I swam to the beach and started to bring him back to the life, shouting and screaming, thinking that I didn't cross all the dangers to lose you here on the safe side, on the beach. It was very dark and cold night. I will never, ever forget it. After full events journey, we finally arrived to Sweden. And as soon as I arrived, I started to learn the very hard and complex Swedish language. by using my hobby, soccer. So I start to coaching a Swedish team for boys was 15 years old. And at the same time, I had started a human organization called Organization for Migrant Safety. And the most important thing, taking care of my family. So where we are now? Well, happily, I coached the team and we successfully, and we became the champions of Sweden at that time. The Organization for Migrant Safety, we had saved until now 35,000 refugees of those who crossed the sea. What about my family? We worked hard. My wife works as a doctor now, and soon she will be a radiologist here in Sweden. My old son, he is 13 years old, and he would like to be inventor, the future. My young son, he survived, and he became 9 years old, and he would like to be a professional football player and win the World Cup with the Swedish national team. So we have our dreams. Me, as a person, I became certified pharmacist here in Sweden, and just now I'm working for the biggest pharmacy chain here in Sweden. I'm so happy for that. But still my heart on my home country, feeling and thinking about it. I have a normal life now. Each day, I drive my wife to the hospital where she works, and then drive to the pharmacy where I work. Finally, during my speech, now, there is a bomb had dropped on my home country. There is a bomb had dropped in Ukraine. There is a bomb had dropped in Sudan. By each bomb, there is a child, there is a woman, and old man killed by this bomb. At the top there is a dictator, killer, murder. He do whatever he want without any punishment. We need to take our responsibility as a human for the humanity, and we need to do it now. I will try, but I can't promise anything. But I will do my best to bring the peaceful for this world, to make it better. My name is Ahmad, and I came from Syria. Thank you.